science researchers use and our NOAA colleagues use for critical microwave sounding data for terrestrial weather forecasts.
Right.
So what I'd like to know is what is the agency doing to address this, what we really feel is an alarming issue at this point?
Well, yeah, it is. Couple of things to keep in mind. Number one, you're absolutely right when it comes to characterizing the water vapor in the atmosphere. We have to have access to that 23.8 gigahertz. What they're auctioning, or what they have already auctioned, is a frequency range right next to that. The concern becomes what is the splash into our frequency range that comes from that, the interference, if you will. And there's a whole host of things that go into that. The power out, how many cell towers are going to be placed around the globe, or at least throughout our own country. Those cell towers and the power out and all those things that result in interference into our part of the spectrum that is so important to characterizing weather forecasting. You are correct that given what we understand that they're looking at as far as power requirements, we're at risk. And I will characterize it this way. I was in the House of Representatives. Actually, it was before I was in the House of Representatives. I was in the House of Representatives when we passed the appropriation bill to augment Hurricane Sandy, the augmentation to the appropriation bill for Hurricane Sandy. And I think it was something like $40 billion. Here's the thing. We missed that hurricane making landfall. All of our models made it taking a right hook out to sea. The European model had it hooking and hitting land. How did we miss it? Well, we missed it not because the model was bad, although a lot of people said that. I eventually became chairman of the Environment Subcommittee. We missed it because the data was bad. We didn't have enough data, and we didn't have the best data. The Europeans had better data than we had. And that ultimately resulted in them knowing that that hurricane was going to make landfall. And because of them, we were able to evacuate the right people, and maybe even not evacuate the wrong people, which also has an economic impact. So my point is, Steve, I get it. This is a big deal for this agency. It's a big deal for the United States of America. It has huge economic impact on our country. It's not just about hurricanes, though. It's also about predicting severe weather events. And the way I characterize it, if this particular frequency band stays as it is with the power requirements or the power allowable that it currently has, we're looking at going back to 1978 levels of data. 1978 levels of data. In other words, instead of getting a 7-day weather forecast, you're going to get a 2 or a 3-day weather forecast. That has huge economic impact to our country. So this is people say it's earth science, it's weather forecasting. I'll tell you something else that's on my mind. I'm at a town hall. This could get me in trouble, but it's the truth. I was chairman of the Environment Subcommittee in the House of Representatives when JPSS fell behind. JPSS won. Why did that matter? Because Suwannee NPP was at the end of its useful life. JPSS was being delayed and delayed and delayed. And if Suwannee NPP ceased to operate, we were going to lose 80% of the data that fed into our numerical weather models from the United States of America. And the testimony that I had from NOAA at the time on the Science Committee was that would put us in a position to miss 25% of the severe storms in the state of Oklahoma. 25% of the severe storms. So that was JPSS. Well, what's the primary instrument on JPSS? ATMS, which of course is doing what? It's sounding in the microwave spectrum for the purpose of characterizing water vapor. So the question is, does this country intend to make multi-billion-dollar investments into satellite programs for which the flagship instrument is now not going to be able to return its investment? Do we put a hold on these programs? I don't know at this point. I've got to work with NOAA. I've got to figure out what's real and what's not real as far as the data that we're going to be able to accumulate once this spectrum is no longer available. But this has huge impact to existing programs already on orbit with tens of billions of dollars worth of investment. It has impact on programs that are underway right now. It has impacts to the people in the United States who rely on weather forecasting. It has impact to the people on the East Coast who need to understand where a hurricane is going to make landfall. I get it. NOAA understands, the Commerce Department understands, they're calling us. So we've got to figure out how we're going to continue the missions that we've been tasked to accomplish under this kind of new environment. And I don't know at this point. I'm going to be honest. We've got to figure it out. But it's a big deal, and it's important, and we're going to continue working on it. The key is, Steve, to your point, what are we doing about it? Dialogue. We need to communicate with all parts of the federal government about why this is a challenge and figure out how we're going to deal with it, because it's going to have a big impact.